I got the heart of a lion. Up with the highest, I'm still in the crowd. Cause this with my heart at. I hunt like a tiger, I'm still on the prowl. If you ain't love me at my lowest, don't ice to sit in the cloud.
Hey, y'all, YouTube, welcome back to the Man Channel with your boy Ellis. Today we're going to be doing the top 20 1v1 players on YouTube. Right now we're going to be being very unbiased, and we're also going to be dissecting win-loss, everything about the 1v1 spectrum, the 1v1 scene that you guys are going to be looking for. Win-loss, win margin, environment of where the 1v1 was played, all of that, man, is going to be taken into place when doing this top 20 list. So make sure you guys stay tuned for the entirety of the video and hit the like button and subscribe. As you guys can see, the subscriber count is right here at the top of the screen. So 85.3K. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. We're going to be doing that this year. You can book that right now. So, man, if you're new to the channel, if you watch 3, 4, 5, 6 every day, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe and support the channel, man. Let's get right to it. At number 20, we have Scar, okay? And the reason why I have Scar is because, one, although he goes on some losing streaks at times, he stays with it. He stays outside. And also, before this little losing streak that he had, he was picking up steam a lot. He was picking up steam in terms of, I think he beat Rodney, Trevor Dunbar, Hezzy. He had a little streak there to where he was getting back to the Scar that we love. But we all know that Scar is at his best when he's getting downhill, when he's being deliberate. And also, I think the main thing for Scar is when he's focused. When he's focused on the game and he's not allowing any outside distractions like the ref, the crowd, or anything like that get into his head. And he is focused that way. At number 19, I have Day. To me, he's tied with the next player that I have on this list. But Day is a guy that takes, to me, he just takes the toughest matchups that are available. I mean, we're talking about Eli Carter. We're talking about Zay 2 times on Channel 2 Season 1. We're talking about his recent matchup just in Cincinnati, the matchup that he had in Memphis. Like, the guy takes the toughest matchups all the time, and that's what I respect about Day the most. But when he plays guys his size and guys in his weight class, it is literally barn burners every single time. Every single time. And I think Day, like he's doing right here, when he's deliberate, when he's getting to the cup and he's doing Day type things, not settling, that is when he's at his best. Like, we recently just seen him against Pat not settle at all. We recently seen him against Terry Hosley have one of his best shooting nights that I've seen Day have. So when he is relentless and when he is attacking the rim, that is when Day at his best. I mean, he has some great wins on his resume. He has Burke, Nathan when he was at his peak, Terry Hosley, 1v1 legend, Pat. He has some good wins on his resume, but a lot of his losses are against, like, if I look at his losses, the only bad loss that he really has to me is Dom from In the Lab, because Dom is known to be a 5v5 player, a team-setting player. But look, Eli Carter, Mike Harden, Zay twice, Kel, Uncle Scoop, Nesco, Lad, Moon. Hey, man, it is what it is, man. But when Day plays guys, he takes all the comp, and he doesn't back down, man. So I have Day at number 19 for sure. The person I have on this list, I think he's tied with Day, is Burke, man. Burke has probably the best bag on YouTube in terms of 1v1. He may have the best bag overall on YouTube, bruh. But I think he's similar to Day in terms of, let me see here. He has a great win against Day. Him and Day are 1-1. He beat Bird here, Jay Horn, Noah, and J.O., which was his first appearance on the scene when he played on Ball Is Life Hoop Dreams. Guys, Uncle Scoop, Nas, Frigga. But when they play each other, they're 1-1 against each other. He also played Nako in Detroit, and also he played Bird twice. Obviously, they're 1-1 against each other as well. But I think Day and Burke are very, very similar in terms of their resumes, and the quality of opponents that they play when they step out and they play. But, yeah, I think, honestly, Burke has the best bag on YouTube. I mean, 1v1s for sure. 5v5s could probably be argued. I haven't really seen Burke in a 5v5 setting other than Warzone, but I think in 1v1s, Burke has the best bag. But I'm curious to see what happens for Burke in the future, because I know he has some really big matchups on the way that can really change a lot of things for him in the future. So I'm really hoping everything works out in his favor. But right now, I have Burke tied with Day-Day, 18A, 18B, 1819, whatever you want to call it. That's how I have it right now. Now, the person I have at 17 is Mike Harden. And I know some people may be asking, why is Mike Harden above Day-Day or Burke? The reason why I have Mike Harden above Day-Day and Burke is, one, he's beaten Day-Day head up. And also, when I look at Burke's resume, his best win, in my opinion, is against Day-Day, right? Mike Harden has a Day-Day win on his resume, and also his win against Cam is better than any win that Burke has had so far in his YouTube basketball career. This game right here that we're watching is probably a bigger game than a bigger win than Day-Day and Burke on Day-Day and Burke's resume. And that is why I'll probably have Mike Harden slightly above them. And those three guys kind of have similar records. I think Day-Day is like 12-14. I think Burke is 5-7, and I think Mike is 3-5. So all of them are a little bit under 500, a little bit. They're kind of similar that way. But I think with Mike having that Cam win the second time and having Day-Day on his resume puts him above both of these guys and puts him at number 17 definitively for me. At my number 16, I think Bird, I really didn't understand or know Bird's resume fully until I really started to do my research and understand the type of wins that Bird had. Bird has some really good wins, man. We talking about Bird. Him and Burke are tied 1-1. He has a Vern win on his resume, and I think that game was 13-12. I think that was a 13-12 game. Island Boy Q is a really good win for him. He lost to Trey Croft, and Nesco. But, man, Vern has some really good wins. And also the reason why I put him over the guys that is after him is because he has a winning record. I think Vern right now appears to be 6-5, I believe. So being a game over 500 really, to me, puts Bird right where he needs to be at that number 16 spot. And he's won some pretty big games in his career, with obviously this game right here being a really big game after losing to Burke on the first day of Chapter 2 Season 1. He bounced back, came back, and he got to go win that way. So, Bird would be my number 16 right now in the YouTube basketball space. Simba is going to be my number 15. Simba is going to be my number 15 right now because of one thing. He has the Friga win. He has a great win for himself at the time when Friga was really highly, very, very, very highly regarded within the YouTube scene, which he still is. He still is very highly regarded, but obviously he's dropped a little bit after the pay-per-view loss to Nasir Kaur. But having that win on his resume in Charlotte for his very first game on TNC holds a lot of weight to me. And another reason why I have Simba at number 15 is because he beat Noah Blackwell twice. When people were expecting Noah Blackwell to be a really great player on the scene, he kind of put that to rest really, really early, beating D Bones in Cleveland, and having losses to Bruce isn't really a bad loss to me, and also losing to Nas. And Nas has been on the record saying that Simba is one of the ones because when they played in Charlotte, that was a really, really good game. That was a really, really good game. It was literally like, I think we were going to 15. It was like 15-13 or something, like 15-14, because it was just a really good game. Simba's a solid 6'6" guard who can shoot it, and he's very, very simplistic. He gets to the point. So Simba would be at my number 15 right now on the YouTube basketball scene. At my number 14, I have Vern. And the main reason why I have Vern at my number 14 is because he has wins on all 4 platforms. He has wins on Ball is Life, Next Chapter, Street Stars, and Off the Dribble. He has won in every situation that he has been at, and as a result, I got to give him a lot of credit for that. having a Trey Crawford win, beating Steez, Left Hand Dom, and Scar on this platform in this particular setting, I got to give him the nod right now because he's been comfortable in winning in different environments, and I think that does matter when it comes to this right here in this particular thing. All right, so Vern is going to be at my number 14 based on that rhetoric right there. And also, man, just his game. I think he has a really, really defined game in terms of getting to his spots, utilizing his pacing, knowing who he is as a player, and also understanding that the three ball may need a little bit of work, but I'm going to get to this mid-range. He knows who he is, and he doesn't force anything when he's out on the floor. So Vern would be my number 14 right now at this particular juncture. For my number 13, I'm going to have Bruce, Mad Dog Bruce. Man, I'm going to have Mad Dog Bruce as my number 13. I think the Tay 1v1 showing was not an anomaly. I just think that was a bad matchup for Bruce, being that Tay is very side to side with his movements and very, very quick with his bursts. But he has some dominant wins when he steps out on the floor. And I'm not going to put the ISO Tay 2 games, and I'm not going to hold that over his head as to who he is as a 1v1 basketball player. So Bruce is going to be at my 13. He has great wins. He has wins over Simba, Walt, D Bones, and some other guys that were in the Street Stars 1v1 tours. So I'm going to put some respect on Bruce's name and understand that the ISO Tay 1v1s, sometimes there's bad matchups. And I believe that was a bad matchup for Bruce at that particular time. And playing ISO Tay as your first 1v1 on next chapter is not no slouch. I will say that right now. So, yeah, Bruce is going to be my number 13 for the 1v1 community. So far, we have Scar, Dede, Burke, Mike Harton, Bird, Simba, Vern, and then Bruce. We're going to have Fambi at number 12. I think Fambi has a really, really good resume, and I think in this year of 2025 that Fambi is starting to understand his true potential, and he's not going to be playing around anymore. And I think he has some really, really good wins with the Moon win, the Friga win that happened on Friga's channel, I believe, last year or something like that. So he understands who he can be, and I think with this resume right here, I think being at number 12 is perfect for Fambi in order for him to grow as a player and take shit more serious, man. If he does that, we all know Fambi can be – we all know that, but we have to see it as a consumer. So, yeah, Fambi's going to be my number 12. All right, so listen. Me and the chat was like have been doing these rankings for like 3 hours together. And Trey Croft's resume is kind of stupid. All right. Bird. This game right here is the Street Stars games that I have second on this resume. Cam, Scar, Clamp God, the Tyree game that was on Baller's Life, lost to Nesco, beat Vern, lost to Vern, New Williams, lost to Bino, and then he beat Quest. I forget. I think that was on Off the Dribble. So let me tell you something, man. Trey Crawford is an issue that is going to need to be addressed by some people very, very soon. I'm not going to lie. Trey Crawford here, man, in my honest opinion. So this guy right here, Trey Crawford, is going to be at my number 11. And, yeah. Just based off, just go back and watch some of these games that are in green. That's all I'm going to say. For my number 10 is going to be Cam So Smooth. I think this victory right here stamped it. And the reason why it stamped it is because this was probably I know Nas and Friga had a rivalry, but that was more basketball. I know Rob and Scoob had a rivalry, but that was more basketball. This game right here was complete rivalry. This is exactly what you will want in a YouTube basketball game in terms of disdain that don't lead to nothing extra, although some almost led to some extra. But this is what I'm saying right here. And I think this game right here on the first ever pay-per-view event, with him winning this game and adding this to his resume and then doubling back, and winning the game that he had at the Grease Factory and then winning the game in San Fran, Cam So Smooth is like on a tear right now. He's on a tear right now, man. So I think him at number 10 is perfect right now. And I think something drastic is going to have to happen in order for him to get out of that top 10. And also, some people are going to have to start answering the call when it comes to playing Cam So Smooth. There's no more he got to win games or he got to do X, Y, Z. He got to do whatever. It's time for people to answer the call now. For real, though. Cam So Smooth at number 10 is absolutely stamped. For my number 9 is going to be Devontae Friga. And I think everything has kind of been the same for Friga outside of that Nas 101. And the reason why I dropped him so far in that Nas 101 is because of 4 months of promotion. 4 months of talking that talk. 4 months of saying the death of Nasir Kaur and the way the 1v1 happened. I think that is it. I'm not going to harp on it. You know what I'm saying? But that is the reality of the situation. And as a result, I think there are other guys that have to be ranked above him in terms of that. But he's still inside my top 10. And a lot of the disrespect of one loss is getting out of hand. But I understand you're going to have trolls and you're going to have to face them. You know what I'm saying? So Friga's definitely going to shake back. And I'm curious to see in what shape or fashion. So see you guys. When I see you guys. Moving on to number 8. All right, chat. So at number 8, I have BJ. And the reason why I have BJ above Friga, although Friga beat him in the Rhode Island season when they had to, you know what I'm saying, pivot and do matchups that way, it's because of the Scotty Lewis win, man. I think the Scotty Lewis win and the Caleb Huffman win are 2 wins that are ridiculous. I think there are 2 wins that stamp BJ as a top 8 player easily. And if BJ decided to play more, he can creep up in that top 5, man. He could get in that top 5 really rather quickly. But yeah, man, I think those 2 wins and then coming to Minnesota and then absolutely showing your character, showing who you are as a person when getting a bucket, showing, if I'm saying, I think BJ showed us a lot or has been showing us a lot within the year 2024, and I'm curious to see how BJ comes back in 2025, man. It's going to be special. It's going to be special. My number 7 is going to be Isote, bro. Isote has been absolutely on a tear. I understand the Zay loss, but I got Zay where I got Zay, and honestly, with all the stoppages, I don't really hold that L over Tay head for real. I'm going to keep it all the way up being with you. But Tay, man, with these 2 wins right here, are just incredible. And the fact that even after the Zay loss, he goes to San Francisco and completely obliterates his opponent. So man, listen, bro. Tay is like one of these wins away. Like if he would have beat Friga at this time, or if he would have gave Nas a better game on off the dribble, or let's say he beat Zay, Isote is solidified top 5. He solidified top 5. But I think Tay at 7 is definitely well-deserved. And I don't really see him slowing down really soon the way he plays the game and the way he defends. Now, for my number 6 is going to be Nesco right now, simply because of this. And I'm going to explain to you when I get to my next person. But I think Nesco's resume is impeccable. I think he does everything. I think Nesco is an assassin. The way he approaches the game, the way he approaches each day in terms of getting better. His resume, he has a really good resume. But I have him at number 6 right now, and I'm going to explain to you guys right now. I have Moon as my number 5 right now. I have Moon as my number 5 right now. The reason why is because of this game, right? This game was so impactful in terms of it not only being in this environment, but the first ever pay-per-view. I treat this as if, here's how I treat it: college football, college basketball. And I think Moon taking a year off from ones in the U.S. and going to China, I think Moon was heavily favored in this game. Not Moon, I think Nesco was favored in this game. And for Moon to come back the way that he did and to win the game in the fashion that he did, I'm going to have to give Moon the odds, the edge in terms of the 1v1 scene right now. So I have Moon at number 5 right now and Nesco at 6, simply off the fact of Moon took the year off, was in China doing his thing. In his first 1v1 back, he played a guy that beat him twice already, and then he came back and won in great fashion on the first ever Next Chapter pay-per-view. And to be honest with you, his resume speaks for itself as well. So just for right now, I'm not saying Moon is a better player than Nesco. What I'm saying is at this particular juncture in the YouTube one-on-one rankings, I have Moon at 5, Nesco at 6. But that doesn't mean Nesco can't beat anybody in the top 5 because he has the capabilities to beat anybody in the top 5. But that's how I feel about it. Now, at my number 4 is going to be Rob Cologne, and I don't really have to say much, man. Y'all know what's going on, bro. Y'all know what's going on, man. Rob would probably be top 2 right now outside of Scoob Loss, but I think this game right here was when I seen top 2 or maybe even a number 1 potential Rob when he was able to adjust and be physical on defense and not worry about the reffing. But Rob is at number 4 for me right now, and when he adjusts, and he did that in this game in particular, it's going to be very, very hard to stop and win a game against Rob after these adjustments, man. So I have Rob at number 4 right now, and some things can change really, really soon. Yeah, trust me. Uncle Scoob at number 3 right now. And the reason why I have Uncle Scoob at number 3 is because after he lost to Rob the first time, he went on an absolute tear in 2024. An absolute tear in 2024. And then he worked his ass off, and then he got the game again. He got the rematch again, and then he did what he did. He did what he did. And he won in really, really good fashion. Some of you guys could argue the hacking or whatever, but that is where, in my opinion, and I told Rob this, where he would have to adjust. Right? Adjust the way the game is being played. But Scoob is my number 3 right now. He is one of the hardest workers in the community. He sets up his own one-on-one events. He wins his own one-on-one events. And when he show up, he show out, man. When he show up, he show out. That's how I feel about that situation, bro. And he has some great wins down here. The Trey Lewis win, the Mike Harden win, the Cam win, the Greg in Baltimore win. He got a whole bunch of wins, statement wins, and he capped it off with this. Got to give him respect. Got to give him credit where credit is due, man, for sure. Now, a lot of you may not agree with this, but I don't really mind it. The reason why I don't is because I don't have a problem with you disagreeing at all with this particular rhetoric, because if you have Nas at 1, okay. Like I wouldn't even be mad at you at all. But Nas to me is number 2, and I think it's about like this close. I think the other person that I have, which we probably all, I think it's about this close, because they both win in such dominant fashion when they play. When they win, they shut people's mouth. Like, it's like, bruh, you feel what I'm saying? So I think especially capping off with this win right here against Devontae Freakin', you look at his resume over the course of, let's say, the last 2 years, coming back after injury and then doing all this stuff, man. I think you got to give Nasir Core a lot of credit. I have him as the number 1 overall player in the scene. I have him as the number 1 overall player in the scene. But for the 1v1 aspect, I have him number 2 by like this much. I'm talking about that emoji that go like this, by like this much, man. But I think the way he's continued to pioneer different ways for himself and do his own 1v1 tour and do those different type of things, I think, man, Nas is solidified. He's exactly who we think he is. Now, the number 1 player that I have in terms of the 1v1 scene is Zay, bro. I have Zay as number 1 player. He's the only undefeated player, and his resume is his resume. And that's literally what it is, man. He's undefeated. He has Nas, Scoob, Scar, Bird, Nesco, Day, Isotape, Fambi, Ja. I mean, it speaks for itself, man. It speaks for itself, and he wins in dominant fashion. He wins in dominant fashion. So I got to give him a lot of credit. And I think he came onto the scene. He burst onto the scene, and he got a pay-per-view matchup based off his performances against Day in Chapter 2, Season 1. But, man, I think, I think what he's done over the course of a year and a half maybe, you got to give him credit. And I have him as the number 1v1 player right now on the scene. So that is my top 20 1v1 players on YouTube. I have Zay, Nazir Core, Scoob, Rob, Moon, Ness, Tay, BJ, Friga, Cam, Traycroft, Fambi, Bruce, Vern, Simba, Bird, Mike Harton, Burke, Day, and Scar. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And we will be doing another ranking very, very soon. This is not to disrespect the players. This is just me showing love and also just caring about the community and giving them something to look at. So if you guys want to screenshot this at all, if you want to screenshot this right here and make it perfect for you so you can have the resumes for yourself, go ahead and do so. This is everybody's resume right now. Now, I did not go down all the way to 2022. I didn't do all that, man. I didn't do all that. So this is what we have as of right now. Thank you guys for watching.